Great. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to this session. This is my second talk today. In this talk, we are going to cover the ZebraDesigner for developers. It's not a new tool. This tool has been released a year and a half ago. But however, there are still a lot of features or benefits not well known to many developers. So today we are going to cover this tool. Hopefully, it will benefit developers who are writing application to get quickly on label printing, label design, etc. So, what is when we talk about ZebraDesigner for developers? We need to first touch base on the ZebraDesigner. So, ZebraDesigner is a suite of comprehensive tools and drivers. It's a window-based applications. That's why we need to have applications on top of drivers. So this suite of the label design applications, in short form of LDA, it makes label design very simple, and also offers most used label design features. Underneath, there is a ZebraDesigner Windows driver. So this Windows driver provides convenience utilities and a method to configure your printer quickly and make it very easy for users to use. This is a high level architecture diagram of how it look like. So we have the ZebraDesigner applications. It sits on top of the driver. A driver communicates to the printer through various ways, either USB or networks or even Bluetooth, and also conventional serial ports or parallel ports, etc. So we are going to go to the detail later. So this is a typical flow of a label design application. So when we start to design an application for label printing, first thing coming into our minds is, yeah, I need to design a label or receipt template, right? And you don't want to start scratch from the getting to know the ZPL first. You want to get on board with a tool first. So they play off the ZebraDesigner tool here. So offers various tools allows you to quickly draw a draft template of the label and the receipt, etc. And then you start to work on your application. So that's where you will get the values for those variables in the template, right? So that's where you connect your application to the printer, either through Wi-Fi or network, etc. So fortunately, Zebra provides a number of SDKs called LinkOS SDK, which supports various different platforms or programming languages like Windows, Linux, Android, iOS, as well as C#, Java, etc. So now it's the job of the printer to merge the data provided by the application with the template stored on the printer. So that's where the printer prints out the labels. So it merges the inputs from the application and replaces variables on the template, which is stored on the printer with those values and the printer label. So that's a typical flow of the development. As I said, ZebraDesigner was released a couple of years ago, and this the latest revision is the ZebraDesigner version 3, which was released a year and a half ago. And in this revision, we improved the integration and simplified the offering. And the most important part is to enable the developers. So that's where the talk is about the ZebraDesigner for developers, this edition. And also, of course, we updated the user experience, etc. We made a few changes as well. So on the bottom side, on the bottom of the slide, you see those 3 different logos, right? So the first one is the logo for the Essentials edition, the middle one Professional edition. The last one is for the Developer edition. So let's talk about how we simplified the offerings. Prior to the ZebraDesigner version 3, we had ZebraDesigner, ZebraDesigner Pro, and ZebraDesigner XML, ZebraDesigner MySap. Those are 4 independent applications plus the driver, Windows Driver 5. So that's a lot, right? A lot for users and also a lot for us to maintain. Through this version 3, what we did, we combined the ZebraDesigner, which is a free edition in version 2, with a Pro application into one ZebraDesigner. We call it Essentials and Professional Editions. It's a single installer. You only install it once. You get 2 flavors. And also we continue support the XML. So we migrate the ZebraDesigner for XML into the ZebraDesigner for developers. And in addition, we add those features for the ISVs, such as export ZPL templates. So before you only get the tool export XML templates, and the ZebraDesigner MySap this edition has been end of life, so it's no longer available. It's not maintained at all. And finally, we upgraded the driver, and from the version 5 to version 8. And we will go into the details, what has been offered in the version 8. So now I need to turn off the video, because it's it kind of like competing with my slides on the traffic. Response is quite slow. Okay, anyway, instead of waiting for the response from the platform, I'm going to move forward. Okay, finally allow me to disable the video. Okay, so hopefully this will get better. Okay, now what has been changed in the version 3 driver update? Let's go through. In the latest driver update is version 8. In this update, we trim out all the old legacy stuff in the driver. Starting from the driver 8, it only supports the Link OS printers model and supports the ZPL only. So for those users who still stick with the legacy printers, you can continue use driver 5, version 5. And version 5 will continue its existence and will be still available. It supports, in addition to the ZPL, it supports CPCL, EPL as well. And also any new printer models come to the market, which only carries like a CPCL, EPL, will be added to the support of this version of the driver, version 5. But however, we're not going to add new features in this driver version 5 of the driver. So that's an update for the driver. Now let's get into what has been changed in the LDA label design applications that we mentioned. Prior this version 3, we had those 4 different applications plus 1 driver. So now the version 2 has been at the end of life, so no longer available for you to download. In the version 3, and we will version 3 LDA continue to support the driver version 5 as well as driver version 8 in order to accommodate the non-Link OS print models. And also in the version 3, the Pro edition is license required, so you need to purchase a license, same as the Pro edition in version 2. And there are 2 editions that are completely free, the Essentials edition as well as the Developers edition. So they are completely free. So that's a great benefit for the developers that use the Developers edition. And also the version 3 of the LDA is has its own installers. So you cannot just upgrade the version 2 to version 3. So it's a completely different application. So you have to install it through a different installer. So in the driver, in the version 3, what has been changed? First of all, is you probably noticed that if you started to use it, you will notice the UI has changed quite a bit. We want to have a much more modern style of the UI. And also we combined as mentioned, we combined the support of the XML in version 2 into the version 3 and added the community support for the ISVs, such as the XML exports and variable length design for the receipt templates as well. So this is the old phase of the version 2. And now we move to the newer phase. So the driver, this interface UI changed to this look. It has much more graphics on this UI, make it more intuitive for user to use. And on the driver, it supports like various connectivities I mentioned earlier: network, USB, Bluetooth, serial, and parallel ports. So because nowadays a lot of laptops has Bluetooth capability, so we take the advantage on that, and allows a user on this tool to connect it to the printers through the Bluetooth. On the LDA application part, the change we made is, of course, the UI changed from the old UI to newer look and feel. And you can see we have more graphical elements, so it allows you to have a quick access to those components to either add text or add barcode, attach or insert a picture or graphics, etc. Much more intuitive to use rather than navigate those small prints on a linear list. And also the manual completely changed. In the old version 2, everything is based on a drop down. So you have to have multiple clicks in order to get where you want. But with those version 3, the manual is based on the ribbon. It's much more modern and give you a quick, easy access. You can quickly go to where you want. It integrates the license into this license management into this tool, so you can either activate the key or purchase a license, and also give you the indication of how many days left on the free trial. We offer the 30 days free trial with this Essentials plus Pro edition. So once you download the ZebraDesigner version 3 tools on your PC, you get the full capabilities of the Pro edition for 30 days for free. After that, it will return back to Essential edition. And the middle part, under the Data tab, so all those features require license. So it's only available for the Pro edition, but however, it's available in the first 30 days after you install the tool. So that's a differences between the Essential edition and also the Pro edition. As mentioned, the license activation is already integrated into this version 3. So you can simply click on the activate key icon here and get into this dialog where you can either continue to use with trial or Essential edition, or you activate the key from here. So this interface allows you to activate the key. So I'm not going to spend more time on that. On the driver part, so when we design a label, first of all, you need to select the media, right? Either a stock media or it's like a general type of media. So in the older ZebraDesigner version 2, there are a lot of media types, built into the tool are outdated. So we cleaned it up. We updated all those stock medias, like 800 plus those part numbers are now available in this tool for all region. So you can quickly select which part stock you want to use. So that would have predefined dimension for those labels, widths and heights. And also in this version of the tool, it supports the wristband, which is relatively new wristband printer came off the market 1 or 2 years ago. So now, yeah, we are going to get to the ZebraDesigner for developers. This edition is what we want, because the essential edition and also professional edition is not really a tool for developers, because those are the essential edition and the professional edition are for end users. So you want to print out the labels. But if I want to design my application, design my label printing application, I would use a ZebraDesigner for developers. This edition. Of course, this edition uses not exactly similar UI interfaces. So it has the same look and feel as the essential and the professional edition. And of course, it continues the support for the XML as it was in the version 2. Those mainly used for the enterprise connector and the direct XML solution. And also we added those features for the developers. We call it ISV community. Those include like a generic driver, so you don't have to have a printer in order to use a tool. In the past, probably you remember that you have to have the printer connect to the PC in order to use the tool, because the tool doesn't know how to configure the workspace with a specific media, right? With this generic driver, so you can select. We'll show you. You can select the generic driver, which doesn't represent any specific printer. So you can use the tools to start to design your more customized template. And also it's like variable length receipts. So I touched base a little bit in the previous slides. But however, this ZebraDesigner for developers edition only supports Windows 8 driver, which supports the Link OS printers only. But you may ask, what do I do if I have a legacy printer with me, but I need to design a new template? Yeah, you can do that. You can take advantage of the generic driver capability. So instead of choose a specific printer model, you choose a generic driver, and it will allow you to design a template for generic purposes. Then you download this template to a legacy printer, so you can continue on with the template printing. But however, this legacy printer has to be ZPL capable, because this tool only design template for either ZPL or XML. Okay, the key functionalities we touched base is a little bit on continuous support XML and support the template file outputs for both ZPL and XML. And you can include the fonts or graphics in the templates. And of course, allows you to store instead of, for example, if you select the generic driver rather than a specific printer, you will not be able to send the template to the printer because you don't have the specific printer with you, right? So, but however, you can save the template files either to a current location on your PC or through or to a location connected to the network through the IP address, or to a file in the file system, etc. So that's kind of quite flexible for you to use this tool. We already covered this part in the prior slide. Okay, so this is a template. In our next demo, we are going to show that. This is like a template called a name tag presented in a workspace. So we're going to show that in a later slide. So now we are getting to the template-based printing. So this is a template, like I said, supports both ZPL and XML. So this is a XML stored format. This is exactly copy paste from the output of this tool. So what I'm going to show you here, the first line here is indicated where this template goes to. So all this content in this text file, when you send the content to the printer will place based on the commands specified here, will store the content of this template into the R drive. R drive represents the RAM, and with this name as a template file name. So it will store this template on the printer at this particular location. So if we want to recall this template, then we will need to send the XML string, because we said this is an XML-based template. So this XML string, so this is how it look like. This is also the exact output from the tool, right? And the first thing you see here is R drive. So this once printer receives the XML string, it will look for this name of the template stored in RAM, right? And then it will do the data merge. It will find this is the value. Joe Fuss is a value for the variable name. The printer will replace the template with a name of name with the value of Joe Fu, right? And it will also replace the name of the company, the variable name of the company that shows here, the company, with the value of Zebra technology. So that's how template works. So you utilize the printer, let the printer do the data merge. You first store the template on the left to the printer, and then recall the template through this XML string. So that's an XML-based template. It's very easy, simple, and straightforward. So you only need to make sure when you what's a template file name you used, you need to match both from the store template and also record template for the XML template printing to work. And for the ZPL, we have exactly the similar fashion. So the first, not first, the beginning, the ZPL content will specify the location and the name of the template to be stored on the printer, right? So when you send the ZPL recall format to the printer, you also need to tell the printer where to find the template from the location, either RAM or internal flash, right? And then the printer will replace the variable name with the value you passed in, like Joe Fuss. How printer will find, because it's a ZPL recall format, it will grab whatever fn1 represents. So the fn1 with the placeholder name, they will replace this with Joe Fuss. We'll do the same for the next variable and replace this with the Zebra technologies. So the printer will do that for you behind the scene, yeah, and then print out the updated templates as a label for the output. So that's a ZPL-based template printing, and the only thing you need to know the differences between how they name the variables. So here you see we have fn1 with a colon name colon. So that's represents the variable name as a whole for the ZPL-based template printing. So if we go back to the previous slide, and the XML-based printing, we have fn1 that represents the first variable, but with the actually the variable name rather than a placeholder. So that's how XML can stream can find, the printer can find based on the input stream of the XML. Okay, so we covered this. This is like a screenshot, you know, how it look like the printer prints it out. Okay, before we go to the demo, I want to show you why the template design or template-based printing is so important. We have two ready-to-use solutions here for you. The first one is called Print Station, which is standalone Android application. You can download from Android's Play Store. So what this application does is you design your template. You can store your template either on the printer or on the Android device itself. So the print station will connect to the printer through USB or Bluetooth or Wi-Fi network, right? And it will find the template for you, and you can populate the value on this template, right on the print station, this app. So once you populate typing those values, you can press a print. Then the print station, this app will print a template, will send this value back to the printer, and the printer will do the merge and print out the value for you, print out the label for you. So that's a print station. It's a ready-to-use solution. So once you design your template, you just make sure you store them either on the printer or on the phone. So you can print straight away. This works for both for the label printing as well as receipt printing. The next solution is called the Print Connect. Print Connect is also a standalone app. You can download from the Google Play Store for the Android platforms. And now you can store the template either on the Android phone or on a cloud storage. But however, you have to use your own app to populate those data for the variables. So the Print Connect doesn't do the data population. It only responsible for connecting to the printer, and then your app do the populates the value for the template. But when you can send the template back to this Print Connect application through the intent, and there are full documentations where you can application notes as a user guide guides you how to implement your own app here with this intent-based data exchange and trigger the print of the label through the Print Connect. So those are two ready-to-use solutions. So now in this is a comparison slide of those three different editions. From here, you can see the ZebraDesigner for Developer Edition contains almost all those features, except it doesn't do the actual label printing, doesn't connect to the database, because this is a tool supposed to be used by the developers like you and me. So we want to create a template to create a label printing application. This is a direct link where you can go to get all those information to download this tool. So now I'm going to walk through some of the tricks, or hidden gems, in this tool. Let me go back to this tool. So I need to switch to Windows computer because the tool is only available for Windows. Okay, before we open here, I saw there are a couple of questions coming. I will address those questions at the end of the presentation. Okay, so let me close this application. So I already have the ZebraDesigner for developers installed on this PC. So I simply launch it. So it gives me this interface. There are a lot of examples. You can start with the sample files. So you simply click on, and it will bring you to a default folder. That's where all those samples comes with the tool stored, like a general folder, Oracle WMS folder, and also Print Connect folder. This My Labels folder is my personal folder. I stored some templates stored here. So if I go to my folder here, so that's the name tag for today's talk. I created this template myself. So that will launch today's the name tag for today's talk. So that's a template. I defined like two variables. So this design tool supports those elements. Okay, so currently I only use the fixed data and the variable data as well as the barcode. Okay, let me get this bigger. And for example, if I click on the this fixed data, right? So that tells me this data is fixed, so you cannot change it. It will be there on every label you print. Okay, so on the style type, you will say, we list all the Zebra fonts. But if you say, you have some fonts may not installed on the printer you want to use, what will you do? You just uncheck this box. It will list all those fonts available on your PC, but those fonts will not be available on the printer, right? So what happens when you print to the printer, which do not have those fonts? So this designer tool will convert those fonts which are not available on your printer into a graphic. So you will into bitmap. So when you print a label, the tool will simply just print those fonts as graphics. So now you understand that if you design variable data with those fonts which is not available on the printer, then you get to trouble, right? Because the fonts are not available. So when you print it, so you cannot choose those unavailable fonts for variable data. So you can only do that for the fixed data. So that's the one thing I want to remind you. Okay, so let's go back. It only show the Zebra available fonts. Okay, and for this is a this data source is a variable data. You say this is a name, right? Variable data. So we part of the variable data. The name of the variable is called name. We simply use the name. And also we have a company. The variable of the name, the variable name is company for this barcode. So we print the text underneath the barcode. The barcode just encrypt the company name. Okay, so the placeholder, the initial value, we put the Zebra technology, etc. So that's one thing. And if I want to print, I want to have a test print, right? And there are two buttons. So I want to test print. And let me get the video. Oh, I should have a quick time here. Okay. Okay. Now you are able to see the. Let me close this window. You'll be able to see the camera as well as the demo on the PC. So if I want to print, no, let me. Okay, I have to make sure the printer is selected, right? So on this drop-down list, you see we have a generic printer driver, right? Those generic printers as well as specific printers. So this specific printer is a ZQ610. So I select this printer, and now I would like to do a test print. Yeah, it prints. So you can use this to verify is that what you really want, or if you want to make any changes, etc. Okay. So let's get back to the template. Okay. So now there is another printer-like button. So that allows you to store the template to somewhere. Okay. So as I mentioned, if you do not, for example, let's go back. I want to check the. I want to check the. Let me get this. Okay. I want to change it to like a generic printer instead of a specific printer, right? And then I go back to store the template. So of course you cannot store the template down to the printer because the printer is not there. However, it does give you options, allows you to store where you want to store those outputs. So for example, if I want to store my local disk, then I navigate to the folder where I want to store the. So that's a DevTalk name tag. Okay, I can select the. That's a ZPL, right? Okay, we select the. Yes, we want to overwrite. Okay, and then it allows you to choose as if which storage on the printer you want to store this template. Even though we temporarily store the file on the local file system. So if I select the internal flash, that would be the E drive. Okay, And also, you have the options to select the XML or ZPL. So for example, if I select the ZPL, because the name I choose here, the name I choose there is ZPL, right? Okay, overwrite. And then what type of content you want to save into that file? Normally I choose this. I choose this option, which allows me to store the template as well as the record format, so both formats in one file. So I would choose this and click on store. Okay, operation complete. So let me get back to. So that's where we just saved. Okay, let me open up this file. So you would say, the first line here, you tell me that's a E drive, right? That's a external flash on the printer with this file name, right? And also, it tells me, this is a record format. So this file contains two ZPLs. One is the stored format. The second one is the record format. So record format will extract the file from the external flash, from the internal flash E drive with this file name and replace variables with those values. So that's how the output look like. And if you want to save this as a XML, you can do the same. So I already saved that in XML. So this is the XML format. If I open it, and you would say, this goes to R drive, which means the RAM location with this file name, and the record format would be this part. Sorry, record format would be just the XML part. This caret XZ belongs to this part of the ZPL. Okay, so the XML part would be this part. So you could separate them into two different files. So this one you would use in your application to populate the values. So this part you would use in your application to store it onto the printer. So there are like kind of two steps. You first store the upper part onto the printer, and then populate the values for those variables in the second part, and send that to the printer for different labels with different values. So that's basically how it works and how it look like. And if we go back to open a different, let me close this, discard all those changes. Let me open up the receipt. Okay, so this is the receipt template I created early on, and you will see here. Let me enlarge this. Okay, this is the body, and there are three parts: the header part, body part, and the footer part. Okay, if I also want to send do a test print, I choose this printer, and also do a test print. Let's watch the. Okay, do a test print. Oh, sorry. The size is out of bound up. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I cannot do the test print on this printer unless I change the size, because on this printer the dimension is only 2 inch. The receipt is much larger. If I go back to the before, let me close this first. Reopen it. Discard those changes, and reopen the receipt. Okay. Right. Okay. So because you can say, if I change that dimension to I can change the dimension. So width, so it's more than 2. This is more, the width is more than 2 inches. Okay, so this template doesn't fit into this printer. I cannot do a demo on this, but however, I did save the output prior to that. So if we click on here, I just want to show you how the receipt look like. So basically, the receipt template works exactly the same way as label template. Just breaks the label template into 3 parts: header, body, and footer. And each part is a separate standalone ZPL template. So you can see here, this is the header part, and up to here, right? And it tells the printer where to store it with what name, right? And also you have the body part. Body part, of course, stored in the same location, but with a different name. You see, the name changed. The tool will change the name automatically for you. And also for the footer, we have a different name as well, and the same location. And when in the recall format, so we have a recall format. The first format recall the header, and the second part recall the body. You may call the body multiple times, right? If you purchase more than 1 items, so depending on how many items you purchase, you recall this body templates multiple times with different value for different items. And the last, you call the footer it last. So that's how it look like. So almost exactly the same way, identical way as a regular label template for the receipt template. So let me go back to the application, to the presentation. Okay, yeah, that concludes the walkthrough. So now let me address the questions